Marcin Stanowski. Today I would like to talk about changes and what to say. I mean, this is a topic which is connected with teaching, but also with a bit of critical thinking and with a bit of teachers' well-being. And those two things, teachers' well-being and critical thinking, are quite my passions. Today they merge in one. This is the empty slide. What a change. You didn't expect that, did you? So I would like to show you the reason for the topic. And of course, I will not show this picture only to soften you. Of course, I didn't. But still, this is the trigger for a great change in my life. I've got 3 kids, but for some reason, Miłosz has made a big change in my life. Absolutely one of the biggest changes in my life. And it's not that I'm like, I always wanted to have a boy. No, I just okay, come what it may. But, I mean, I absolutely love the guy. And he's changing me. Fellow change makers. Because you are change makers. There are no better, bigger experts in making a change than teachers. You make a change every single day. And this change is profound. But I would like to think about the change in a broad context. Have you been the same 5 years ago? 10? 15? I mean, guys, if you look at yourself now in a mirror, and then look at the photos. Oh yeah. Okay. Or before a pint and after a pint. Okay, but were you that hairy some years ago? I'm thinking, guys. Or the skin was smooth as now? Is it not now? Or probably maybe you had different. But maybe we can we arrange for one more chair at least? Maybe because you made a change. Okay. Thank you very much. Excellent. Okay. So, did you used to teach the same when you started teaching? Have you used same amount of laminated materials as now? Or did you use OHPs a lot? When you started, probably some of you had some experience with grammar translation method. Was communicative approach so popular? What method are you teaching now? Some people say we've got no method, we are post-method now, because we do everything. Big change. So I want you to really think, how have you changed? Do you know this thing? Yes. I started actually with, I think it's called Diaskop, Rzutnik, right? Projector. It changed a lot for me, and I was asking this question on Facebook pages to many teachers, and they reflected on so many changes. They were talking about students, bureaucracy, and so on. Can you think of some changes in bureaucracy? Is it going smaller or increasing? Oh, what a change! So think about your teaching and yourself. Can you see this guy? Is it in any way similar to me? I've got to tell you that when I saw this photo, somebody sent it to me after 16 years. I haven't recognized myself. I mean, I knew it was me, but I haven't recognized myself. Think about yourself. Why we are who we are? And if we keep on changing, how come that we are who we are and we are aware of that? It's a bit of as with Theseus' ship. Are you familiar with the concept? Are you familiar with Theseus? The guy from mythology, god of anyway, I think it was war. He was kind of Athens. Anyway, he had a ship. And you know what? What happens to ships? They get destroyed. Some planks need to be removed, replaced. The masts get broken. They need to be replaced. And that happened to Theseus' ship. Now tell me, if we change all the planks, and all the paddles, and all the masts, and all the sails in this ship, is it still Theseus' ship? Is it still the same ship? How do you know that? We remember, we experience our memories, and it lives in our mind. It's not the same ship physically, but it's the same ship in our mind. This is the identity of the ship that makes it steady, makes it. I don't mind, but there's only floor space. So, identity is something which makes us aware of who we are, even we are constantly changing. Of course, the matter is more complex because identity is a constant fight between me versus others. What's my identity? If people influence me, do they kind of force their identity upon me? That's also this constant crisis of me desire, the perfect me, and the real. The way I am here, right? Okay, probably I strive for better things. I would like to improve and on and on. But will I achieve it? Probably you know that there was a guy, Heraclitus, who said that the only constant is change. And I used to have a saying that some things never change. It's wrong. All things change. Maybe your mom's apple pie tastes the same, but it's in your brain. It's always a little bit different. But you know what? He also said, this is Odra, by the way. We are almost by the river. Actually, it's around 1.5 kilometers, which is the distance that some people didn't run today. More to come. I'm just gonna. Anyway, you know what? You cannot walk in twice to the same river. You cannot walk in twice to the same classroom. Kids are changing. Every time we may see different behaviors, different ideas happening, and well, if you think about that, kids change a lot more than we do. mood swings. If you think about your teenage years, oh my God, I was like maniac depressive. Now, I'm still maniac depressive. But you know what? The duration between one and the other just lengthened. Okay? But still, those swings were far more frequent. And you know what? Kids are like a sponge, we say. The minds are like a sponge. It's true that they absorb a lot more, probably, but in a very natural way. But also, you know what? They can change. You can grab the sponge and you can press it into a small thing. And then it retracts. And on and on and on. But you know what? I've been in Wrocław. Quite recent. It was August. Family trip. We went to the zoo, which is not that far away from here, and you can run there. And you know what? I saw a camel. What you call one-hump camel. In Polish, anybody says dromader. 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 I always thought it was dromader. But you know what? I went to the zoo, and guess what? I saw this word, dromedar, which is dromedary in English. I was absolutely perplexed. The world, I know it, collapsed. By the way, it's here. Right? Poprawna, the correct name for the one-hump camel is dromedar, not dromader. Few years ago, even 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I would say, But now, I couldn't accept it. I changed. My mind got a little bit fixed. And you know what? This is what happens. This is what the research says. This is what studies show. That with age, we get more and more fixed. We are less adaptive to change. We are less resistant to change. If you think about sorry, I will say it only once, a good change. You remember how much uproar it caused. I'm referring to a good change in the Polish education system, which wasn't. Okay. And the research shows that with age and also with experience, the changes also irritate us. What's more, even if we are able to change, we don't. We somehow lose this ability to change. And my dear fellow change makers, how are we supposed to make changes in students if we don't change? And if we cannot accept the change? I mentioned several times fixed mindset by Harold Weck. And of course, you know what I'm talking about. It's quite trendy right now. Harold Weck, after researching groups of students, found out that some students believe that they cannot get better, they cannot improve, their intelligence cannot grow And some others believe that actually, yeah, I can do it. Why not? I will learn it. Let's think. I'm just not good at technology. But this has always just worked fine for me. Can't you done it? I will never do it. That's the difficult. I can't cope with that. Here's a guy who's not very clever. He cannot learn. I blew conditioners today morning. My motivation is gone. Who said all these things? These are actually that I've taken note of in my mentoring sessions or in my contact with teachers. I, for 2 years, was public school consultant, advisor for teachers of English in Warsaw, and it gave me a lot of insight into the work of teachers and into their mindset. And I don't want to offend anyone. I'm not talking about you. Probably. But we talk so much about the mindset, growth mindset for students. How on earth are we supposed to do it if we just hear our colleagues saying, hopeless, lost case, he will not learn anything. He will just dig ditches, right? Or work on a construction site, right? Forget it. They lost for education. It's very sad, but I've met a lot of such teachers, and I'm sure that you also know such people. What happens that even if we attend so many seminars, conferences, I'm not talking about you, we don't learn. We get back from the conference and we get stuck in our identity because it's precious. We don't evolve, we don't do as we preach sometimes, and we don't change. I had a brilliant chance to be in Wales for 2 weeks at the beginning of this year, where I observed Welsh teachers. And I was stupefied, because you know what? They actually, if they do formative assessment, if they speak formative assessment, they actually do formative assessment. Right? That's nature of the honest. Or if they do the feedback, they think about feedback, if they are trained about feedback, yeah, they do feedback. And every single lesson, it was countless number of hours that I have seen, was ended with, what did you learn? What have you learned at this lesson? Next question was, how did you learn it? Third question was, what can you do to learn more? And we don't. I mean, not many teachers do it, right? They've got beautiful, beautiful posters in their classes about feedback. But later on, after the work is done in class, students are given little handouts when they star themselves according to the STAR feedback system. And it's quite natural. Students are not shocked about it. They are not shocked because they know what feedback is. If you ask Polish students, many of them just don't know. They were not told. They were not exposed. Not even in theory, but definitely not in practice.
But who does? Can you elaborate more on this board? Who's responsible? Who does that?
Teachers. I mean, teachers ask students to evaluate. Yeah. Strengths, what went well. You or your teacher will record the strengths of your work. You could start writing your strengths by considering what went well within your work. These are the strengths, right? And students write on the handouts what went well, what I learned, right? Then we've got target. You or your teacher will record here your targets to improve your work. Okay? So students are taught this way to learn how to set their educational targets, what they should learn more. Then, accuracy, literacy, numeracy, subject specific. Your teacher will review the work you have completed and look to ensure that your work is accurate when considering this above. And reflection, you will reflect upon the targets you have written or been given to you by your teacher. What are you going to do to improve your work to get to your target? And they actually do it. Students, they really think about their performance.
What is the empty space to the right?
This is a place where students write their things, okay? Not every single lesson something is explained, but there are. Okay? Later on, if we talk about growth mindset, this is how teachers work with growth mindset. Here they ask students to write what they can do, how they did, and their only positive statements about how they have learned something. Yes? But it's not about language, it's just about maths, physics, chemistry. Yeah. This was primary. Okay. I mean, you can do it in Polish, right? Even in Polish, it's not done, right? Even in not only lessons of English, but some other lessons, it's not done. Okay. We talk about it, but we don't teach our students about it, and we should. Also, we don't teach students about how to transform the fixed mindset into growth mindset, how to change it. We just kind of get taught about it at the conferences. And you know what? There's another one thing which I saw in the corner of the whiteboard. It's turn wobble into a waggle. And it's also about change. Wobble is what the bad one looks like. So this way students learn to focus on see the mistakes, but then teachers ask students to change it. Ask students to change into improve the sentence. The say waggle is what the good one looks like, and it's a reminder both for students and for a teacher. We don't see such things in Polish classrooms. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm a bit negative. Okay, sorry, but it's not very popular. And you know what? I believe that we should educate students about growth mindset, about positive thinking, about how to learn, how to change their behaviors, how to believe in themselves. Also, because of something which is called Hawthorne effect, which is people improve their behavior when they know their work is appreciated. Very simple thing, but it was researched in 1928 by Elton Mayo, a psychologist who came to Hawthorne factory and was checking how the productivity of workers improves when workers know that the staff or the body of experts or managers appreciate their work. But it's also true for the classroom, right? If we know that, if these students know that we appreciate their work, they will work better, they will change something. The same with Pygmalion effect. And probably you remember that high expectations lead to increased in performance. If teachers believe that students can do something, they will create such an atmosphere in which students also believe in that. And that was done by Rosenthal Jacobson in 1968. These are very old researchers, yet very rarely implemented. Another thing about change, you probably heard about primacy and recency effect, or serial position effect, which tells us you remember the most from the beginning and from the end. For example, of the lesson, of the sequence, given sequence. And I observed many lessons where you had just only one activity, which is quite a waste of primacy and recency effect, because that means that probably students get the most from the first 10-15 minutes and last 5 or 10 minutes of the lesson. But if we include more activities, if we include more sequences, that means that this effect of serial position of primacy and recency happens more often, and students are more likely to remember more from those periods of time. Another thing is that we can do a lot to embrace the change more, and we can simply do things different. How can we make things different in the classroom? Could you just think about that? Come again? Which is kind of challenge. Or, as Daniel showed you just an hour ago, you can have a silent lesson, right? Which is a kind of a change, and it boosts the motivation because students are faced with something new, with a change of the methodology. And I don't want to kind of elaborate on it, because I'm sure that you know how you can teach in many different ways. The point is that if we cannot walk twice in the same classroom, we should do more. We should make this classroom change or different every time, because this way we break the routine, this way we motivate students, this way we show students that we also care. And this is quite important that we remember what the offer effect. I've got to tell you that I have just changed jobs. I was working for the very good high school in Warsaw. For the past 10 years I didn't have to teach present simple. Now I went to another school where I have to teach present simple in the 3rd grade. And it's my major change. I also never taught kids, but hello, I'm Helen Doron, teacher, since the 1st of September. And it's a big change to me, believe me. Up, 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 down, 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 turn around and turn around. Believe me, it's a big change. But you know what? I suddenly flourished.
We can see that.
Yeah, I admit I got stuck a bit in the routine. And I believe that you need to change jobs. And you need to change the environment where you are, where you teach. Because only for your benefit. You are less prone to burnout. Definitely.
With the reform, it's quite possible.
True, they care about us. But you know what? On the other hand, if you really insist on this topic, we can just conclude that our ministry of good change of silly walks, also silly steps, let's say, didn't really learn from psychology. And there is a huge chapter of psychology when it comes to management to resistance to change. And it's very popular in business. When anything is implemented, they carry out researches, they talk to people, they ask their opinions. In education, it doesn't happen. We know better. We don't have to follow what was the big wisdom of psychologists and researchers. Anyway, I just want to tell you about my current job. Let me tell you, there is a great space for change. Let's put it this way. And I heard students saying, you know what, but it's just a school on the suburbs. We are just ex-school. And I shouted at them, but you are this school! Why are you complaining about yourself? Why don't you do something? Be the change you wish to see in the world. Which can be said. And finally, Pareto for the end of the talk, because there was Pareto in the topics I need to kind of refer to. And of course, if you teach business, especially, you know this Pareto rule tells you that from the 20% of your investment, of your work, very often comes 80% of big results. Sometimes the other way around. Right? Sometimes we focus 80% of our time on 20% of students. And you know what, so many things like a teacher is teaching in a room, 35 degrees centigrade inside, outside slight breeze, 20 degrees, windows shut. 45 minutes. A person whom I observed saw the facts, but they didn't change anything. Why? Why we don't change things sometimes? Because we simply don't care, maybe. We are not kind of really focused on things, or maybe we are numb. We don't accept change. And this is a view that you can see quite close to the conference venue. I covered the logo. That's the... What's that? Stomatologist, the dentist, right? And you know what? I absolutely believe that the smile can make miracles. So, I would like to encourage you to go into the streets and smile to other people. Why? Because maybe one person in the crowd will be a teacher. And if you smile to them, maybe that will make them happy. And if they happily stroll into the classroom, it will make a big change to the students. It's not the final message. The final message is to stare a little bit. The worst thing that may happen now, I mean, not after this talk, but after this conference, that we just kind of go and be the beautiful, the same as we are. That we don't teach that. I mean, actually, probably we will include the ideas we got from here. We will be inspired to change some aspects of methodology. We will do the handout that we have obtained here. It will be absolute success. And it's not the best we can do. The best we can do is to talk to our colleagues and tell them, you know what? it was fascinating thing. It was absolutely mesmerizing. Yes, sometimes maybe the logistics, the cramped rooms, we were sitting on the floors. It was quite hot, and we were so tired. But you know what? I met fabulous people. I had a pint with amazing change makers, and you will inspire them. You will invite them to embrace the change. You will make them believe in change. And you know what? I just want to quote the famous astronaut that this experience may be a small change for you, but a huge one for your colleague.